Have you ever wondered what happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object? Or better yet, what happens when a man trained to kill is forced to learn how to simply sit still? We all think we know what toughness looks like. We picture Navy SEALs in the mud, MMA fighters in the cage, or Spartans holding the line. But what if I told you the most brutal training on earth doesn't involve a single punch? What if the hardest battle isn't fighting for your life, but fighting the noise inside your own head? Today, we're going to watch a man break, not because of pain, but because of silence. Welcome back to Tales of Wonder. If you enjoy stories that peel back the layers of human psychology and reveal the gritty, ironic truths about who we really are, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. We dig deep into the drama of the human condition, and trust me, you won't want to miss where this story goes. Now, let's begin today's story. Jasper Reed was not a nice man. In fact, if you looked up lethal weapon in a dictionary that had pictures of angry, bearded men, Jasper would be right there on page one. He was a former private military contractor, a man who had spent the better part of 2 decades in the sandy, blown-out corners of the world, doing jobs that governments didn't want their names on. Jasper was built like a refrigerator filled with concrete. He had knuckles the size of walnuts and a gaze that could peel paint off a wall. He operated on a very simple philosophy: dominance. In his world, if you weren't the hammer, you were the nail, and Jasper had spent 40 years making sure he was the heaviest hammer in the toolbox. But there was a problem. Jasper was retiring. Well, retiring is a polite way of saying he was fired. His aggression, which had been his greatest asset in the field, had started leaking into his civilian life. He'd put a barista in a headlock because the coffee was lukewarm. He'd kicked a dent in a taxi door because the driver was too slow. The private military company cut him loose, citing instability. Jasper didn't see it as instability. He saw it as the world getting soft. He felt like a tiger trapped in a petting zoo. He needed to find a place where his intensity was understood. He didn't want therapy. He wanted to sharpen his edge. He wanted to become the ultimate warrior, untethered by rules or human resources complaints. He began digging into the dark web forums of martial arts enthusiasts, looking for the real deal. He didn't want the tourist traps. He didn't want the Shaolin temple, where you pay $20 to watch a teenager break a stick over his head. He wanted the origin, the source. He found a legend about a splinter sect called the Order of the Hollow Bone. They were supposedly located in a forbidden valley deep within the Songshan mountain range, miles away from the commercialized temples. Rumor had it, this was where the actual warrior monks went when the main temple became too soft. They said the training was so severe that half the students died, and the other half became enlightened. Jasper liked those odds. He packed a single duffel bag, cashed out his pension, and flew to China. He was going to show these monks what Western grit looked like. He expected a boot camp. He expected pain. He expected to earn their respect through blood and sweat. He had no idea that he was walking into a meat grinder for the soul. Jasper arrived at the base of the mountain range in the dead of winter. The air was thin and bit at his lungs like broken glass. He had a map drawn on a napkin by a terrified local guide who refused to go any further than the foothills. "You go up," the guide had said, pointing to a jagged goat path that disappeared into the mist. "Come back same." "That's the point," Jasper had grunted, tossing the man a wad of cash. The climb alone would have killed a lesser man. It took 3 days. Jasper slept in crevices, ate dried beef jerky, and cursed the wind. By the time he reached the summit, his tactical boots were shredded, and his lips were blue. He crested a ridge and saw it. The monastery of the Hollow Bone. It wasn't the majestic, golden-roofed palace he had envisioned. It was a ruin, a collection of gray, stone shacks clinging to the side of a cliff face like barnacles. The walls were covered in moss. The roof tiles were cracked. It looked like a stiff breeze would send the whole thing tumbling into the abyss. "Perfect," Jasper whispered. "Hardcore." He marched to the heavy wooden gate and pounded on it. "I am Jasper Reed. I seek the training of the Hollow Bone." Silence. Just the howling wind. He pounded again. "Open up. I've traveled 6,000 miles." The gate creaked open. A small, withered old man stood there. He was wearing a faded, patched gray robe that looked like a potato sack. He was holding a broom made of twigs. He looked about 90 years old, with skin like crumpled parchment and eyes that were milky with cataracts. Delivery, the old man asked in broken English. No, Jasper barked. I'm here to train. Take me to the master. The old man blinked. He looked Jasper up and down, taking in the combat boots, the tactical pants, the bulging muscles. He sighed, a sound that carried the weight of 1,000 years of disappointment. Come, the old man said. Jasper smirked. Step 1 complete. He was led into a courtyard that was essentially a patch of dirt surrounded by crumbling walls. There were no other students. No rows of muscular men practicing kung fu forms. No sounds of hiya echoing off the walls. Just a few chickens pecking at the frozen ground and a rusted water pump. Where are the others? Jasper asked. Gone, the old man said. Or dead. Or selling insurance in Beijing. I want to learn the lethal arts, Jasper said, puffing out his chest. I want to learn the touch of death. The iron shirt. I can handle anything you throw at me. I've survived war zones. The old man nodded slowly. War is easy. War is loud. Here, we do the hard work. Good, Jasper said. Let's spar. No spar, the old man said. First we sweep. He handed Jasper the twig broom. Jasper stared at it. You want me to sweep the dirt? The dirt is messy, the old man said, turning to walk away. Make it flat. No footprints. Jasper laughed. A test. The classic Karate Kid, wax on, wax off garbage. He could do this. He would sweep this courtyard so perfectly that the old man would weep. Jasper swept. He swept for hours. But here was the kicker. The wind never stopped. Every time he smoothed the dirt, a gust would blow leaves and dust back over it, or the chickens would run across it. By sunset, Jasper was furious. He hadn't learned a single move. Master, he yelled. The old man emerged from a shack, eating a bowl of plain rice. I'm done sweeping. The wind keeps messing it up. Then stop the wind, the old man said, and went back inside. That night, Jasper slept on a wooden plank with no blanket. He was shivering, angry, and hungry. Tomorrow, he told himself. Tomorrow, the real training begins. Day 2 wasn't combat training. It was the watch. The old man, whom Jasper learned was named Master Lu, though he suspected the guy was just the janitor and the real master was hiding, pointed to a large, jagged rock sitting on the edge of the cliff. Sit, Master Lu commanded. Watch rock. Watch the rock. Jasper asked, his vein popping in his forehead. For what? Is it going to attack me? Watch until the rock moves, Lu said. Rocks don't move. Then you wait a long time. Jasper sat. For 12 hours. His back screamed. His legs went numb. His mind, usually occupied by tactical assessments and threat detection, began to eat itself. Without an enemy to fight, Jasper's aggression turned inward. He started replaying every mistake he'd ever made. Every failed relationship. Every kill. By hour 6, he was hallucinating. He thought the rock was breathing. He thought the rock was laughing at him. When Master Lu came back at sunset, Jasper jumped up, his legs cramping. I sat. I did it. Now, teach me how to punch through a rib cage. Lu looked at the rock, then at Jasper. You moved. I saw your shadow shift. I had a sneeze. Death does not wait for a sneeze, Lu said. No dinner. This continued for a week. Then a month. The physical atrophy was the first thing to hit. Jasper, used to consuming 4,000 calories of protein a day and lifting heavy iron, was now eating a bowl of rice and watery cabbage soup. His biceps shrank. His traps deflated. He felt weak. He felt vulnerable. To a man like Jasper, feeling physically small was worse than being shot. It was a castration of his identity. You are making me weak, Jasper screamed one morning, grabbing Master Lu by the collar of his robe. I am losing my muscle. I am losing my edge. Master Lu didn't flinch. He didn't use a secret kung fu move to flip Jasper. He just looked at him with those milky, bored eyes. Big muscles carry heavy burden, Lu whispered. You are too heavy. We must empty you. Jasper let go, confused. The lack of resistance was infuriating. If Lu had fought back, Jasper would have felt validated. But Lu was like water. You couldn't hurt water. Then came the sword. Master Lu dumped a 50-pound sack of rice onto the dirty floor of the main hall. He then dumped a 50-pound sack of white sand into the same pile. He mixed them together. Separate, Lu said. Rice in a pot, sand in bucket. Do not miss one grain. This is insane, Jasper hissed. This is prison labor. Prison is in mind, Lu said. Jasper spent 3 weeks on his hands and knees. His fingers bled. His eyes blurred. He began to know individual grains of rice. He named them. He started talking to them. This was the military boot camp nightmare, flipped upside down. In the military, they scream at you, break you down, and build you up into a unit. They give you a rifle and a brotherhood. Here, there was no brotherhood. There was no rifle. There was just Jasper and the terrifying silence of his own chaotic thoughts. He realized the brutality wasn't the physical pain. It was the boredom, the absolute, crushing weight of monotony. It forced him to confront the fact that without violence, he didn't know who he was. 6 months in, Jasper looked like a ghost. He had lost 40 pounds. His beard was long and gray. His eyes were sunken. He moved slowly, deliberately. He hadn't thrown a single punch. One afternoon, a group of hikers, wealthy adventure tourists, stumbled upon the monastery. They were loud, wearing bright neon Gore-Tex, taking selfies with expensive cameras. Jasper was sweeping the courtyard. He was still sweeping. One of the tourists, a loud American man with a beer gut, laughed at Jasper. Hey, honey, look at this guy. A real monk. Hey, buddy, do a backflip. The man threw a half-eaten protein bar wrapper at Jasper. It hit his chest and fell to the immaculate dirt. Something inside Jasper snapped. The old red mist returned. The dormant soldier woke up. He dropped the broom. He turned to the tourist. The rage that had been bottled up for 6 months exploded. Jasper didn't just want to hurt this man. He wanted to obliterate him. He visualized the takedown. Throat strike, knee to the solar plexus, armbar snap. Jasper took a step forward, his eyes burning with murder. The tourist stepped back, suddenly realizing this monk had the eyes of shark. Jasper. The voice was a whisper, but it cut through the air like a whip crack. It was Master Lu. Jasper froze. He was shaking. His fists were clenched, so hard his palms were bleeding. Master Lu stood on the porch. He wasn't looking at the tourist. He was looking at the broom Jasper had dropped. You missed a spot, Lu said. Jasper stared at the master. He disrespected the temple. He threw trash at me. The trash is on the ground, Lu said calmly. The trash in your heart is the problem. Pick up the broom. I'm a warrior. Jasper roared, his voice cracking. I'm a killer. I didn't come here to be a janitor for tourists. You are not a warrior, Lu said, his voice dropping an octave, suddenly devoid of the frail old man accent. It was deep, resonant, and terrifying. You are a child throwing a tantrum because the world is not afraid of you. A true warrior is not dangerous because he can kill. He is dangerous because he chooses not to. Jasper trembled. The tourist scrambled away, terrified by the energy radiating from the gaunt man. Jasper looked at his hands. They were calloused, not from punching, but from the broom, from the rice, from the rock. He realized in that moment that if he attacked the tourist, he would just be the same man who kicked the taxi door. He hadn't changed. He had just traveled. He exhaled, a long, shuddering breath. The red mist receded. He picked up the wrapper. He put it in his pocket. He picked up the broom. I'm sorry, Master, Jasper whispered. Master Lu didn't smile. He just nodded. Tea is ready. Another 3 months passed. Jasper felt different, lighter. He moved with a grace he never had when he was 240 pounds of muscle. He could hear a spider walking across the ceiling. He could sense the wind changing direction before it hit his face. One morning, Master Lu called him into the inner sanctum, a room Jasper had never been allowed in. You are ready, Lu said. Jasper's heart pounded. Finally, the secret techniques, the scroll, the mystic arts. Ready for what, Master? The iron palm? The shadow kick. Ready to leave, Lu said. Jasper blinked. Leave? But I haven't learned anything, Marshal. I haven't learned how to fight. You came to learn how to be the ultimate weapon, Lu said. But a weapon has no mind. A weapon has no choice. You're no longer a weapon. You are a man. Lou handed him a small, sealed envelope. Do not open until you face your greatest enemy, Lou instructed. Jasper took it. He felt a strange mix of disappointment and relief. He bowed deeply and genuinely. He packed his bag, which felt incredibly light now, and walked down the mountain. He didn't need the map. He remembered every stone on the path. He flew back to the States. He returned to his gritty city apartment. He looked in the mirror. He looked like a different person. Lean, wiry, calm. He needed a job. He went to a local security firm, run by an old contact named Sarah. Jesus, Jasper, she said. You look different. You sick? No, Jasper said. I'm better. She gave him a trial run. Night security at a high-end jewelry distribution center. Simple work. 2 weeks in, it happened. The greatest enemy. It wasn't a ninja. It wasn't a rival mercenary. It was 3 desperate, meatied-out junkies with sawed-off shotguns who kicked in the loading dock door at 3 a.m. Jasper was in the control booth. He saw them on the monitors. They were erratic, screaming, shaking. They grabbed a female employee, dragging her by the hair, putting a gun to her head. The old Jasper, the tank, would have kicked the door open and started shooting. There would have been a firefight. The hostage probably would have died in the crossfire. The old Jasper would have called that collateral damage. But Jasper paused. He breathed. He watched the monitor. He did the watch. He saw the lead gunman's eyes darting. He saw the sweat. He saw the fear. He didn't see a monster. He saw a grain of rice that was out of place. Jasper walked out of the booth. Unarmed. Hands open. Whoa. Back up or I blow her head off, the gunman screamed. Jasper stopped 10 feet away. He stood perfectly still. His stillness was unnatural. It was the stillness of a mountain. It was so profound that it confused the gunmen. They expected shouting. They expected a cop. They got a statue. You don't want to do this, Jasper said. His voice wasn't a bark. It was a low, resonant hum. It was the voice of Master Lou. Shut up. Open the safe. There is no safe, Jasper lied calmly. Only time. And you are running out of it. He took a step forward. Not aggressive. Just fluid. The gunman flinched. I'll shoot. You are thirsty, Jasper said, noticing the gunman's cracked lips and the tremors. You are tired. This is heavy work, holding that gun. It's a heavy burden. The gunman blinked. What? Put it down, Jasper said, locking eyes with him. The gun is heavy. The anger is heavy. Put it down and rest. It was the psychological pressure of the monastery. The weaponization of empathy and observation. Jasper was projecting such an intense aura of calm that it was destabilizing the chaotic energy of the room. The gunman's hand wavered. For a split second, the gun dipped. That was all the opening needed. But Jasper didn't punch him. He moved. He flowed like water. He closed the 10-foot gap in a heartbeat, but without a sound. He gently, almost tenderly, placed his hand on the shotgun barrel and pushed it down while his other hand touched the gunman's shoulder. Sleep, Jasper whispered. He applied a pressure point pinch to the trapezius muscle, something he had learned from carrying the water buckets correctly, not from combat manual. The gunman's knees buckled. He dropped. The other 2 junkies panicked. One swung a bat. Jasper stepped inside the swing, the same way he had stepped around the falling leaves and swept the man's leg. Not a bone-breaking kick, just a displacement of balance. The man fell. The 3rd ran away. Jasper helped the hostage up. She was shaking. You saved me. You didn't even hit them really. Jasper looked at his hands. No, I didn't. The police arrived. They arrested the gunman. The footage went viral. The Zen security guard. Jasper went home that night. He sat on his floor. He remembered the envelope. Open when you face your greatest enemy. He thought his greatest enemy was the gunman. But he realized, as he held the paper, that the gunmen weren't the enemy. His reaction to them was the enemy. His desire for violence was the enemy. And he had defeated it. He tore open the envelope. He expected a profound ancient proverb. The sword that is sheathed is the sharpest. Something like that. He pulled out a crumpled piece of paper. It was a receipt. To Jasper Reed. Room and board, $500. Rice, $50. Broken broom, $10. Total owed, $560. P.S. The ancient monastery was condemned in 1998. I'm not a monk. I am a squatter. My name is Bob. You fix my roof. Thank you. Jasper stared at the receipt. He read it again. Master Lou wasn't a master. He was a homeless man named Bob, living in a ruin, who had tricked a frantic American into doing free manual labor and repairs for 9 months. The training was just chores. The watch was just getting Jasper out of Bob's hair so he could nap. The rice sort was probably because Bob had spilled the rice and was too lazy to separate himself. Jasper felt a laugh bubbling up in his chest. A deep, guttural laugh. The old Jasper would have flown back to China and burned the mountain down. He would have felt scammed, humiliated. But the new Jasper laughed. He laughed until tears ran down his face. Because it didn't matter. Bob was a fraud. The temple was a lie. The lineage was fake. But the change was real. The patience was real. The focus was real. The fact that he had de-escalated a hostage situation without firing a shot was real. Bob, the squatter, had accidentally, or perhaps brilliantly, given Jasper exactly what he needed. He stripped away the ego of this special forces operator and replaced it with the humility of a janitor. And in doing so, he had made Jasper more dangerous and more peaceful than any military boot camp ever could. Jasper framed the receipt. He hung it on his wall next to his medals. He kept his job at the warehouse. He started a small class on weekends. He didn't call it tactical combat. He didn't call it the way of the hollow bone. He called it advanced sweeping and patience. And it was the hardest class in the city. A year later, Jasper received a package in the mail. No return address. Inside was a brand new, high-quality broom and a note. Dear Jasper, the roof is leaking again. The new students are lazy. They want to learn to fly. I told them they must first learn to watch the paint dry. Come visit. Bring cigarettes. Master Bob. Jasper smiled, picked up the phone, and booked a ticket. After all, the training never really ends. So, here's the question for all of you watching. If you found out that the mentor who changed your life was actually a fraud, would it invalidate the lessons you learned? Does the source of the wisdom matter, or just the result? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one. If this story made you rethink what strength really means, please destroy that like button. Do it with a gentle, non-violent tap, of course. Share this with someone who needs a little patience in their life. And don't forget to subscribe to Tales of Wonder for more stories that twist your perspective. I'll see you in the next video. Stay focused.